it's more than just building. It was like bringing life to something.
One of the very important things about this dance form is individualism.
No joke. It's what science tells us is the ideal nap, the nappuccino.
Today on Spotlight, the app helping you be more giving in the new year by dining out. A custom design company giving second chances to men with felonies. Plus, could slowing down aging be as easy as taking a pill? We'll tell you about some new research. Or maybe it's all related to what you eat. A doctor and New York Times best-selling author explains. It's Sunday, and you're watching Spotlight.
Time. It rules our lives. And yet, behavior expert Daniel Pink says we don't pay enough attention to it. As an example, consider how we schedule meetings.
They're not that intentional. I mean, they say, okay, we have to have a meeting, all right? And we think, okay, here's what we're going to talk about, or the what. Here's how I'm going to run the meeting, the how. Here's who's going to be at the meeting. And then, when should we have the meeting? It doesn't really matter. And it matters a lot.
He found a ton of research to back him up. 700 scientific studies, to be exact, on the perfect timing for just about everything we do and all the decisions we make.
I'm like, oh my God, I need someone to help me sort this through so I can get a little bit smarter on it.
He compiled a team of researchers to spend 2 years synthesizing the information. Even his kids helped out.
That has to feel good as a dad to have your kids that are interested. One that would read it and then are interested.
I feel good to get such incredibly skilled labor for free.
That too.
Yeah.
The research even landed Pink in an exhilarating experience in Mumbai, India.
I mean, it's just one of those things every once in a while in life and this is true when I was like rattling in the luggage compartment of that train. It's like, whoa, what the heck am I doing here? Like, I am just sitting, I am sitting in basically this pile of lunches.
Ultimately, it all led to this, his 6th book, When: The Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. His new book is a quick read, full of research-based advice on when you should do everything from have a medical procedure, particularly a colonoscopy.
I'm not eager to go in for a colonoscopy at any time of day, but if and when I go, I will definitely go in the morning. And that's not a joke.
To what time of day we should ask for a raise, brainstorm, and even start the school day for teens. Plus, how to take the ideal nap.
How did this idea hit you?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Here's what happened. I realized that I was making all kinds of timing decisions in my own life. When in the day should I work out? When should I abandon a project that's not working? And I was making them in a very haphazard way. And I figured, okay, there's got to be a better way to make this. I started looking around, and I realized there wasn't any kind of systematic guide to this. But what I also discovered in doing a little bit more investigating was that there was a ginormous body of research out there where across all of these fields, people were asking very similar questions. What are the effects of certain times of day? What are the effects of midpoints? What are the effects of endings? And so I said, this is a book that I would like to read. And so I decided to write it.
I know that a lot of kids would be really interested to read a section about the timing of when particularly middle school and high school starts. Do you think it starts too early?
It's not what I think, it's what America's pediatricians think. In 2014, the American Academy of Pediatrics, which is the group that represents our nation's pediatricians, issued a policy statement telling schools, don't start school for teenagers. Now, little kids is fine. Don't start school for teenagers before 8:30 in the morning. We know from the research that human beings experience a change in their chronobiology around the age of 14. Around the age of 14, they start waking up later, going to sleep later. It's not because they're lazy, it's because their bodies are changing in pretty dramatic ways. And yet, we treat these teenagers who are, waking up later and going to sleep later, we treat them like they're, 4-year-olds who, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and start running around at 6:03. Right. Yeah. And that's not how teenagers are. Yeah. And it's not, and it actually is it's a pretty serious issue because, but there's a fix. Starting a school day later for teenagers, like 9 o'clock, not crazy, 9:15. The places that have done it have seen reduced dropout rates, lower rates of teen depression, lower rates of obesity, higher standardized test scores, fewer teen traffic accidents. So it's actually a very effective and it's a very cost-effective solution.
Talk about a nappuccino. What is a nappuccino?
Yeah, so a nappuccino is basically the perfect nap.
Okay.
And I was basically I didn't nap that much, but I hated napping. I always felt bad afterwards. Groggy, but also ashamed of myself. And what I realized is I was napping wrong. And the ideal nap is really between about 10 minutes and 20 minutes. Very, very short. That gives you the clarity that a nap delivers without what's called sleep inertia, which is that groggy feeling that you're talking about. And the nappuccino is a turbocharged way of doing it. And what you do is you start out by having a cup of coffee, which is weird. All right, you have a cup. You have a cup of. Well, here's what I do. All right, so I don't have my phone on me, but you'll see if you see my phone, my timer on my clock is set for 23 minutes. So that's standard. So I will set the timer. It's already set for 23 minutes, and I will have a cup of coffee. Hit the timer, put on some headphones, kick back in an office chair. Sometimes I'll put on an eye mask. I can usually, like in that afternoon dip, I can usually fall asleep in 8 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that. So with 23, that gives me a 14, 15-minute nap. That's pretty good. That's in the window. And so after 23 minutes, I wake up. But here's the kicker. Remember, I had that cup of coffee.
Yeah.
It takes about 25 minutes for caffeine to enter our bloodstream. So at the moment I'm waking up, I get that other hit of caffeine just entering my bloodstream. It's no joke. It's what science tells us is the ideal nap, the nappuccino.
They are the best-selling authors and all of your favorite genres. For in-depth, one-on-one interviews, go to hecmedia.org.
Follow HEC Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
When I sand the rough part of the coffee table, it's just basically like I'm sanding all of the rough patches out of my life.
There's nothing like fresh smell of wood, fresh cut wood.
It's an art form, and I never really realized that.
Anew Nature is a furniture company that uses our furniture as a conduit to teach a job and leadership training program to men with felonies. So for 8 weeks, they come to us and they come in it's like a normal work day for them. They come in and then we teach them from the very ground up how to read a tape measure all the way to how to cut down a tree and then mill wood at a wood mill or finish sand wood and then the metal work for all the stuff too.
I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was just trying to push myself to make a change in my life.
The biggest surprise to me is I actually love and admire carpentry work. Love it.
If you've never had a job, especially if you've been out of general public, you kind of don't know what's expected of you as a person. So you may not be doing something maliciously because you're lazy or entitled. You may be doing it because you don't understand. At any job you'll go to, they expect you to show up on time and leave on time and maintain a certain standard of behavior. And if that's not taught, those are the kind of things you learn through life experience.
Working under Rob, he showed me like the ways of nurturing this art of nature, like working with wood and working with your hands. It's more than just building. It was like bringing life to something.
We get guys that don't know anything about woodworking, and they don't know like the steps and like the experience. And so when we get them in here, they're all nervous about what they want to do or what they need to do. So when we start working with them, they have a different perspective on what is to be done. Within like 2 weeks, they see like how it's done, and they're just like, oh, I want to do that. That's what I want to do for a living. It's awesome.
We have about 60 guys who've gone through the program in the last 3 years. More than half of our guys have been in a job for over a year.
I never knew I'd have had a trade in my life, like instead of working fast food jobs. But now I feel like I can go get a job doing mostly anything for real, because I learned a lot of skills.
Local Missouri tree, all the steel is forged in Missouri, and even our finished products are all Missouri made. This tree was felled and went to a wood mill, and then all of our students learned how to operate the wood mill, and they come back in kind of these, chunky slabs, and then we take just this steel rod, we get in big 20-foot segments, cut it down to length, bend it on our hand bender in the back, clean it, cut it, and then weld them onto these angle brackets on the bottom of it, and then some are painted, some are steel. This table was designed and built for Rise Coffee, and it's actually like a narrow, long dining room table for their new location in the Grove area. This is a piece of frosted tempered glass, and it's over motion sensor LEDs, so anywhere you touch it, it just lights up, which is just like super fun and different.
When it's done, you get to look at the finished product, and then you get to look at the blueprint, and you're like, yeah, we did that. It's very satisfactory.
Kind of like one of my major first projects I was working on, and the person that bought it, they were so happy and awed by it. And I wasn't the only one that worked on it, but by me putting the implement on it, it just made me feel great, and I just love that feeling.
This is a beautiful program. It helps you evolve. It helps you become more of a man. This program is everything.
You're watching Spotlight.
You may try to control your weight, control what you eat, and build daily routines to maintain a healthy lifestyle and a healthy look. But one thing you can't control or change is the passing of time, your age. Shin Ichiro Amai with Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis believes in finding a way for people to age better. He calls it productive aging. Being healthier, having more energy, being more active. He's motivated by the idea of having a metabolism of 10 to 20 years younger. Studying basic mechanics of aging and longevity, the professor of developmental biology had some breakthrough discoveries in his lab. Among the latest, identifying a previously unknown route for cellular fuel delivery.
Even existence of such a transporter. So it's an extremely high risk and a big challenge, I would say.
It's a finding that could shed light on the process of aging and chronic diseases that accompany aging. With age, cells gradually lose their ability to take in and process fuel. By boosting the energy supply of aging cells, they hope to slow aging. It's all related to his research on a chemical compound found naturally in our bodies and some produce we eat. The molecule is called NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide. His work has shown how NMN boosts NAD, a key element of any cell's fuel supply chain.
NAD, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. And this compound NAD is required to maintain our energy and metabolism.
NMN can boost NAD production, enhancing sirtuin activity. Sirtuins are key regulators for aging and longevity. Sirtuins are a family of proteins that use NAD for their enzymatic activities, which he says slows down aging in mice. They long suspected a transporter providing a direct route, and they hoped it could be activated to further improve the performance of NMN in cells.
We succeeded in identifying this molecule, NMN transporter.
The protein, called SLC12A8, is the mystery transporter. They further showed that the cells dial up the expression of the SLC12A8 gene when NAD levels fall.
If we develop a drug which can enhance the function of this transporter, then we can enhance the uptake of NMN.
Amai says drugs activating the transporter could benefit treatments of other diseases, as other scientists have already discovered a connection with SLC12A8. One example is pancreatic cancer. They hope this transporter can be activated for drug therapies treating diseases in specific organs and tissues. First things first, Amai is now conducting a human clinical trial to discover the efficacy and safety of a specific NMN nutraceutical 250 milligram tablets daily.
For each person, we are doing an extensive analysis, like a physiological assessments. So it's actually a very intensive study.
And he hasn't ruled out how research on aging and longevity may also improve the look of aging.
You just never know where that spark is going to come from.
You're putting a human touch to everything through the vehicle of art. We give them the ability to hope.
We all do it. You go to a restaurant and you want to share your experience with your friends. So what do? You take a picture of your meal and post it online. But did you know there's now a way you could turn that photo of your food into actual food for someone in need?
GiftAMeal is a mobile app that helps provide a meal to someone in need each time someone snaps a photo at a partner restaurant. So we're a blend of restaurant marketing and giving back. Restaurants pay a monthly subscription to be on our app, and each time someone takes a photo, we make a donation to a local food bank that helps provide one meal to a pantry so someone in need could access it.
In St. Louis, those donations are made to Operation Food Search, which then distributes the food to more than 300 local food pantries. Andrew came up with the idea for GiftAMeal while he was still a student at WashU. Here's how it works.
So we have over 150 restaurants on the app. And so every time you're at one of our partner restaurants like Turn, you could click to take a photo. So here I'm going to take my quick picture. You could write a caption if you want, like love, Turn. Toss in an emoji. Click confirm, and then it verifies that I'm actually at Turn, and it's submitting that photo to GiftAMeal. And there we go, it's that easy. So now I just provided a meal to someone in need.
The restaurants pay a subscription fee, and when you post a picture online through the app, GiftAMeal pays the cost of donating 1.2 pounds of food to a local food bank. And if you then share that photo on Facebook or Instagram, GiftAMeal will donate a second meal. So far, they've provided more than 360,000 meals.
The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive from the restaurants.
It's been really beneficial for us as far as customers coming in who've seen us being tagged in the GiftAMeal post, or I think also that when customers come in and they see the tents up, they really want to be a part of this great product and this app, and they'll order an extra thing just to take a picture so they can say they posted it, and also to give back to the charity, so it's great.
The app is free and available on both Apple and Android phones.
So for all of you watching this, if you download GiftAMeal and use the promo code HEC when you sign up, you'll give your first meal to someone in need through Operation Food Search right off the bat.
There are currently more than 130 participating restaurants in St. Louis, with more in Chicago and Detroit, and plans are in the works to eventually go nationwide.
You're watching Spotlight.
Find out what to eat when from Dr. Michael Roizen, award-winning author and chief wellness officer at the Cleveland Clinic. In his new book, he shows us how to lose weight, get better sleep, and live longer.
Food has the second greatest effect on your rate of aging. What you eat is important, and don't let me diminish that. But when you eat is also important because you become progressively insulin resistant during the day. And there is a what. So you only want to eat food that loves you back.
Foods like avocado, blueberries, and salmon.
So food should be like a marriage. So you wouldn't marry someone who's going to kill you. And you may love French fries, but they're going to kill you, something you shouldn't have. The plan is to live healthy. So it is, yeah, you'll lose weight and you'll get better sleep, but it is basically you want to live as long as you can without disease and without disability. And that's what the plan is. And that's why we highlighted it, because we as a country aren't living as healthy as we can.
Find out more and watch the full interview at hecmedia.org.
Happening now. Get a bird's eye view on the St. Louis Wheel, featuring climate-controlled gondolas that you can ride every day of the year. Explore Cahokia Mounds, an ancient Indian settlement featuring artifacts and walking tours. Admire Dutch paintings from the era of Rembrandt at the St. Louis Art Museum, along with another exhibition that features a collection teaching visitors that there's more to art than what you see.
The exhibition really tells a story of 60 years of what it means to make abstract art. What are the stakes for artists? What problems are they trying to work through? What kind of visual enjoyment are they trying to achieve? The Shape of Abstraction selections from the Ollie collection draws from the Thelma and Bert Ollie Memorial Collection, which was given to the St. Louis Art Museum by Ronald and Monique Ollie.
This exhibition spans 5 generations of artists. The Gift of 81 works by Ron and Monique Ollie have really added to the depth and breadth of our collection of abstraction, as well as works by Black artists within the collection.
The exhibition is an in-depth look at abstract art by Black artists who were working in the United States and Europe in the past 60 years. We have organized the 40 works that are in the exhibition around 4 thematic sections, which look closely at the theoretical underpinnings of abstraction, but also socioeconomic conditions in which the works were made. One section looks at how many of the artists were drawn to working and studying abroad. Other sections of the exhibition look at materials that the artists used and the studio processes that they experimented with and how that informed the development of abstraction. Another section looks at abstraction and its relationship to representation or the depiction of the figure or landscape. And then lastly, we look at how artistic expression has been articulated through shape and form.
Some of the innovations that are evident within this exhibition, starting with materiality, acrylic paint was invented in the 1950s and introduced to the commercial market in the 1960s. And so we have many artists in the exhibition, including Frank Bowling, Frank Wimberly, Bill Hudson, and many others who adopted acrylic painting early on. Many of these artists really created a hybrid of works within the objects that they were creating. So we have stitching and weaving and collage as different techniques that they were using, along with staining and pouring the canvases.
I'd like the public to just really enjoy and take in the variety of approaches that artists have had to abstraction and the many, many different ways that that can play out. The possibilities are endless.
Follow HEC Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
HEC has been bringing you positive programming and award-winning content for decades. Arts, education, culture, in-depth discussions, films, and more. All in one place, hecmedia.org. By now, everyone knows about this landmark restaurant in the Central West End. But in South St. Louis, you'll find a different kind of Shake Shack.
Be careful not to Shazam.
It's a weekly class called Belly Dance with Nisa.
Step touch it with me.
Obviously, she's Nisa, or at least that's her stage name.
My real name is Heather Ward, like psychiatric.
And she's been crazy about belly dancing ever since she first tried it as a college student. These days, Nisa is the teacher.
Where was that a minute ago? Most of the people I get have never danced before in their lives. Don't fight this move. Embrace it.
Nisa has been teaching belly dancing in St. Louis for more than a decade, though strictly speaking, it's not just any kind of belly dancing.
But if I advertise my classes as Rock Sharky with Nisa, no one knows what I'm talking about.
Rock Sharky is the Egyptian style of belly dancing, and Nisa, aka Heather Ward, wrote the book on it. But Nisa admits when she first tried it, the last thing she wanted to do was talk about it.
Oh no! I kept it secret for a long time. I wanted it to be just for me, and I also didn't want to have to explain, like, no, I'm not learning to be a stripper. It's a cultural dance. Now I have those conversations all the time. Don't let the energy stop at your wrist.
A lot of those conversations are spent knocking down the stereotypes about belly dancing, including the fact that often it is much more about moving the pelvis than the belly. Think of it as Cleopatra meets Elvis.
It is a lot of fun. So much fun.
Donna Gladden literally followed in her family's footsteps. Her sister and mother are both belly dancers, but she says it's not an ability that's inherited, it's learned.
I sucked. Like, I really sucked. That was like literally the beginning. Was at level 1, couldn't even get the arms right, couldn't do anything really. But yeah, no, you don't have to be good in order to, you just have to keep trying and practice.
Ball pivot.
The ancient art of belly dancing was popularized and mythologized at the Chicago World's Fair in 1893.
3 Shazam! 1, 2.
In St. Louis, it's been taught in one form or another for about 50 years.
I used to be quite a klutz, so it helped me a lot with placing my feet and learning how to not fall downstairs or trip over my feet or anything like that. So it's been good as far as body consciousness.
Nisa's classes often have a kind of girls' night out feeling, but not always.
Well, actually, recently I've been having classes with a guy.
And that guy is this guy, Fadi Halabi, who moved to St. Louis 3 years ago from Lebanon.
Belly dance is part of my culture. Everybody pretty much belly dances socially in Lebanon. The stage performances are usually done by women. But when you look at social belly dance, which is what people do in weddings, what people do, you know, with their families, with their friends, it's both men and women.
When you get all these people from all these different backgrounds in the same room, learning about a dance that comes from the Middle East, so it opens a lot of eyes, and that's something that I've found very important to me.
If they have the stomach for it, so to speak, the bravest of Nisa's students dance in public. But whether seasoned performers or just nervous beginners, at Belly Dance with Nisa, everyone gets a fair shake.
One of the very important things about this dance form is individualism. A lot of the dance is about personal expression of the music, and so to see them develop into their individual dancer is what I love the most. Right foot, oh yeah!
Thanks for watching Spotlight. Join us next Sunday at 9:30 a.m.